How do we know if a function is even or odd? The condition for being even is given by this. F of negative x is equal to f of x for all x. Then that function is even. For odd, for the odd condition, if f of negative x is equal to negative f of x for all x, then it's odd. So let's consider some examples, because this is sort of an abstract notion, these two notions here. So let's consider some examples to hammer home the idea. Okay, so what I do is always pick a positive number. So any positive number, you start with a positive number. Let's pick 2. So if we're testing, let's test the function f of x is equal to x squared. So here's the function that we want to test whether or not it's even or whether or not it's odd. So we'll start by testing whether or not it's even. So we pick positive 2 as our test number. And then notice, if we pick positive 2 and we put that 2 right here, this negative gets multiplied by it, so that we have to find f of negative 2. So f of negative 2 is equal to negative 2 squared, which is equal to 4. And then, so let's, now that we found this side is equal to 4, let's find what this side is. So remember, our test point is 2, the number 2. So we put f of 2 is what we want to do next to test it. And if these two come out to be the same thing, then that means that this is an even function. 2 squared equals 4. And so this function is even. So for the second part, let's try the function f of x is equal to x cubed. Let's first test the even, and then we'll test the odd. So starting here again, we're testing this line here. We're testing to see if this thing is even. And we're picking our test point to be x equals 2, so we need to do f of negative 2 is equal to negative 2 cubed. Our test point is 2, and so we have to do, 2 is here, so negative times the 2, right? Okay. So then negative 2 cubed, negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4 times 2, negative 2 again is negative 8. So this is negative 8. And if you put this into your calculator, it's important to put the parentheses around that negative 2 so the calculator knows that all of that stays within, all of that is being cubed, so that your calculator will deliver the correct result. Now let's do f of 2. Well, f of 2, because we're putting the 2 right here, f of 2 is equal to 2 cubed is equal to positive 8. So this function is not even, right? So this is, it's all we know is that it's not even, because these two values are not the same. But it might not be odd either. There are situations where a function is neither odd nor even, and so we need to test the odd condition here. So let's test the odd now. So for the odd, we need to test, we're using the same test point, 2, positive 2. So f of negative 2, we already found that to be negative 8. So f of negative 2, you always start by finding f of the negative test point is equal to negative 8. And then we need to find negative f of 2. So negative f of 2 is equal to negative. Notice that we found f of 2 here to be 2 cubed equals 8, so this is negative 8. So because these two numbers are the same, this function is odd. Okay, so that's how you go about it in the analytical way. There is a graphical approach. Let's take a look at these functions graphed. Okay, so for an even function, if you take the function, you see that this is x squared, and we know that this is an even function now because we've gone through and done our test for it here. But an even function will have the following symmetry. You can take this part of it and rotate it around the y-axis, and it will fall right on to the other side of it. You see how if we pick this side up and rotate it around, it'll land right on the top of there. You see that? It's therefore even. So this is a quick graphical approach for those who have more visual minds. Okay, then for odd, what we have to do is take this side on this side of the y-axis, flip it over, we rotate it about the y-axis, and then we have to rotate it again about the x-axis. So there are 2 rotations to test the odd. And so it's a little bit more difficult graphically in your mind to think about it. But we see that this one, whenever we rotate it about the y-axis, it'll do something like this. See that? And then when we flip it down this way, we see that it'll fall right on top. So that means that this is odd. So 1 rotation about the y and it matches, that means the function is even. 2 rotations, 1 about the y and then another one about the x, and if it matches up, then the function is odd. This is even and odd functions. I'm going to step to the side and give you a clear screenshot. Try it out.